In our last video, we talked about how Power BI actually works, right? And we mentioned the modeling part, the logic part, and the visualization part. So in today's video, I'll be showing you modeling and modeling the right way. The different types of modelings that we have, we'll consider those, the cardinality you should always look out for, and also the filter direction that you should look out for. And before we end this video, I will be answering a very common interview question that you get in Power BI interviews. Mostly when you're interviewing for a Power BI role, they would almost always ask this question. So watch till the end so that you can get an answer to this question. And before we move on, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? It is absolutely free and you can learn along with me. You can ask your questions and I will answer them. All right, let's get into the main work. This view, it is called model view. You can see this diagram that it is relating with another diagram. So that is your model view in case you are absolutely new to Power BI. Now you can create this relationship in different ways. You can either drag and drop. Let's say these two are the same and I want to relate them. I can drag and drop. Then it brings me to this place where I select, do I want my cardinality to be many to one, and then this filter direction to be single. Now I will explain that in a minute. Let me close this. So you can also come here directly to create your relationships. So if you want a new relationship, you go this way. You select your table. This is our fact table and then our dimension table channel. So channel ID goes to channel ID. It is blank because there is already a relationship here. So let's go to one of the ones we already have, then edit. So we have channel ID between our fact table and our dimension table. And like I mentioned, you have different cardinalities. I mentioned this in our SQL examples. So you have many to one, that is, there are multiple values on this first table that connects to one on this second table. So this is an example. You can see CH03, CH03, and you can see just one CH03 here. So that is many to one. Now, if my fact table is the second table, let's say I'm changing the direction or I'm switching the direction of this table and I have my dim channel here. Let's say, let me switch that quickly. So I have a new relationship. I have my channels table first, and then I have my fact second. So if I come here, now I will show you which one you should choose. So then if I come here, I can pick one to many. Many to one and one to many are the same. The only difference is just the position of the tables. If one is on top or the first table and the other is the second table, you have to switch between many to one or one to many based on the position of your table. And usually Power BI would pick it up whether it is many to one or one to many. But in case it is wrong, you have to redo it. You have to correct it. And then we have one-to-one. One-to-one relationship exists when, for example, again, this table, instead of it having multiple CH03 channels, it also have distinct values of CH03 channel ID, or not just that channel ID though, like all the channel IDs are also distinct on this table as they are distinct on this other table. Then you have your one-to-one. That is, one value on the first table is connecting to one value on the second table. Then we have the last one, which is many to many. So many to many happens when you have, let's say, do I have any other table that has dates? Let me see. Okay, I don't have date on any other table, but let's say the same value appears multiple times. You have different dates on the first one. The same date appears multiple times on the second one. Then that is your many to many. So those are the different cardinalities we have in Power BI and most of your data tools actually. So you can either make a relationship active or not make it active. Now that is another phase or another thing to consider later, because this making it active would determine if your tables will filter each other straight away or you'll have to activate that relationship in your measures. There are times when you have to activate relationships in measures, but we will get to that much later. So these are the different cardinalities you have. And then we have the cross filter direction. It can either be single or both. So normally when you have a one-to-many or many-to-one relationship like this, the one path filters the many paths. So the table that has the distinct values filter the table that has the multiple values. So you have your fact table, which we have mentioned. So for those who don't know what a fact table is, your fact table stores your quantitative data and there is room for repetition. It is always long, while your dimension table is like wider. So basically your fact stores information about your quantities. Then you can also have your keys on it that helps you to connect to the dimension table. Aside from the fact that your fact stores your quantity, your fact table shows the main values that are attached to your business process. So let's say that you are selling shoes and then you have today, for example, how many shoes did we sell today? Customer A came and bought 5 shoes. What is today's date? You put it on your fact table, the number of shoes, the price, or the quantity, all of those are on your fact table. Customer A must be linked to another table called dimension table. On the fact table, we only saw that it was customer A. Now, if we need more information about customer A, we go to the customers table where customer A's name is address, or whatever information you get about your customers. Dimension table helps with the descriptive context of your business. So your fact table has the quantitative, qualitative, the quantitative values, date, and all of that. So usually your fact table is longer most times than your dimension table because you have dates and then you have repetitions, and then that's why it is usually the many side of your relationship. So that is it about cardinalities, relationship, and cross filter direction. When you talk about data modeling, we have different types, right? We have your fact table connected to your dimension tables, and if you have a fact table as the central table connected to your dimension tables, this way we call it a star schema. As you can see, it looks like a star, right? So that is why it is called a star schema. This one here, we call it a detached table. That is, it has no relationship at all with any of these tables, but it contains values that are from these tables. This is my DAX table. I'll show you how I created it just as a means of organizing to make sure that all my measures are in one space. So this is star schema model. We also have the Snowflake model where your dimensions can be connected to another dimension. We call it Snowflake, and we call this where all your dimensions are connected to your fact table. We call that star schema. Power BI is mostly optimized for star schema, and star schema helps you to easily get your data. So this is the filter direction I was talking about. You see the one side, you see the many side, and you see the direction of your arrow is pointed towards the many side. So that is how it works. So let us move to the interview question that I said is very common in Power BI. Usually they would ask you, what is the difference between an implicit measure and an explicit measure? So in Power BI, sometimes you don't have to write a formula. Power BI can actually compute for you, mostly your aggregated values or your aggregated formulas, and we call those implicit measures. Those are the measures that are computed by the system itself. You just need to drag and drop them, and then you can either choose to sum them, count them, get a mean or get a max. Let's see how that works. So your explicit measures, let's go to our fact table. We have our sales price. Let's view that against channel or say product. So let's just look at the sales price already. You can see that here my Power BI has given me a sum of my sales price, right? It gave me 631 million. Now, if I want to start formatting this or adding one thing or another, then I need to explicitly calculate it or give it a value in Power BI. So this is my implicit measure for sales, and then this is my explicit measure for sales. So as you can see, I added currency to this. I could add currency to my implicit measure too. If I describe this as money, I can let it have the money or the currency value also. And as you can see, it has the currency value, but there are some other formatting that you can only do with explicit measures. So aside from the fact that your implicit measures can sum, they can also count. So instead of giving the actual customer ID, I want to count it. So that is also an implicit measure. I did not have to do any calculation. Power BI just computed it for me. So any time you did not write a measure, don't forget that it is an implicit measure, and when you define it this way, that is an explicit measure. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next one. And before you go, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, click on the subscribe button and turn on notification bell so that when I post another video, you would be the first person to be notified. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.